Hello, this is Don Potter. We're going to demonstrate right now the 8 comprehension skills by Dr. George Gonzalez that I was taught when I was a bilingual teacher. And here they are. There are 5 that are literal skills. The first skill is facts and details. So when you read a story, when you're reading, you want to be thinking about, when you get done, you want to be able to remember, to recall at least 10 facts and details out of the story, the things that are going on in the story. That's the first skill, and you hold your hands up, 2 hands, 10 skills. When you get done, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the second skill is fact or opinion. If it's a fact, you raise your right hand. It's a fact, it's a fact, it's a real fact. And if it's just an opinion, you raise your left hand and you say it's an opinion, just an opinion. That's 2 skills. The third skill is called sequence, because once you got all your facts and details and you know if it's real or not, then you're going to have, you put them in order. So you have what happens first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And your teacher may give you a quiz on it, and she may list 4 or 5 things, and you have to put them in order. So you have to know what happens first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. That's sequence of events, recalling sequence and events. The next one builds off of that, and that's called cause and effect. When one thing happens, it causes something else to happen. It could cause something else to happen. For example, if somebody, and this hand's pulling this hand, so this hand's causing this hand to move. If somebody drops a banana peeling on the floor and somebody slips on it, what's the cause of the accident? The banana peel. And so the banana peel becomes the cause, and the effect is the fall. And the fifth, and this is the main idea. And the main idea, there's a little song that we sing. And it goes like this. Well, we're going to know the who did what, where, when, and why. And we sing a little song. Who did, I got the main idea in my hand. 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 I got the who did what, when, where, why. I got the who did what, when, where, why. I got the who did what, when, where, why. I got the main idea in my hand. So if your teacher asks you, what's the main idea of the story, you're going to think, who did what, where, when, and why. And then those are all right there on the page. When you're reading, those skills are going to be right. But there's 3 skills that aren't on the page. Teacher used a big word called inferential. These are things that are in your head. And these are the questions that boys and girls often miss. The first one is predicting outcome. You read what happened in the story, and then you figure what's going to happen next. And you take your hand like this on your head, and you predict what's going to happen next in the story. That's a lot of fun to do. And sometimes a teacher will ask you some questions, say, what do you think will happen next? And she'll give you 4 different answers. 3 of them are going to be silly, and 1 of them is going to be one that makes sense. That's the one you want to check off or you want to answer. The next skill is called drawing conclusions, where you put all your facts together and you figure out how something works. And you put your finger on, remember, these are in your head. So predicting outcome from your head. Next one, drawing conclusions. So you put your finger here and you draw a conclusion. What's the conclusion of all this? And the last skill is the hardest. It's the most, what we call abstract skill. And that is generalization. And you're going to, it's in your head. It's not on the page. And so it's going to be like this. Y'all watching? You're going to take your hand, not too hard, okay? And you're going to go, I understand. The light came on. And you can think, this means, like you're reading a story, and you're thinking, oh, this means that you shouldn't run through a stoplight because you might get hit. You apply it to your own life and to your own situation. And those are the 8 comprehension skills. Let's go and film one time. You ready? Everybody, with your hands. The first one. Thank you for watching my little YouTube presentation there, or video on the 8 Powerhouse Comprehension Skills by Dr. George Gonzalez. This is Donald Potter, and today is July the 10th, 2017. I made that video back in 2017, and published it on my website. Recently, a subscriber asked me if I could add some instruction, more instruction to it, and so that's what I've done. At the bottom of the page, you're going to see a document down, a link to a document down there that you can click on. That's the document you see in front of you right here that will that contains this instruction. It's actually material from workshops that I collected from Dr. George Gonzalez, who was a leading ESL and bilingual educator back at that time, around late 1980s, early 1990s, cleared down to maybe a little, I know that he did a workshop in 2002, I'm not sure after that. Nevertheless, we have in front of you a chart that shows exactly what I just got done teaching the students in the 4th grade classroom at the Odessa Christian School. The 8 Powerhouse Comprehension Skills, as Dr. Gonzalez called them. Notice that the first 5 that we did on the video are called the literal comprehension skills. They're on the page. And Dr. Gonzalez had hand signals that he used to teach these, and I just got done showing the hand signals. So now you can use this to refer back and maybe understand better what we were doing there. The first skill, and these skills are in order in a sequential order. They're logically developed. In other words, the first one is called recall facts and details. And if you just read the little red hen, of course you read that there was a little red hen and there was a cat and a dog and a pig, and they were lazy, and the little red hen had some chicks, and she found some seed, and you know the story. Well, those are the facts and details. In fact, an opinion is the kids learn, and for that you hold up 10 fingers and try and think of 10 things that happened in the story. Distinguishing fact and from opinion, now that you've got the facts and details, you look at them and decide if it's a fact or if it is an opinion. And if it's an opinion, you raise your, if it's a fact, you raise your right hand, and if it's an opinion, you raise your left hand. The sequence of events is really important in understanding the story and knowing what happened first, second, and third. So in the little red hen, of course, she found the seed and she asked them if they would help her, and then we go through and she planted the seed, and then she hoed the garden, and then she harvested. And you can't get those out. If you get those out of order, the story's going to be all messed up. So you got to know the sequence, and you can develop questions on tests that address the sequence, what happened first, second, or third. And for this, if you refer back to my video, you kind of bounce your hand from left to right in front of you, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4. What happened first, second, third, fourth? Then fifth, and again, notice we're building sequence of events. We then have cause and effect. And you can't do cause and effect till you know the sequence of events. And so it's very logical progression here. And with identify cause and effect, you cup your fingers together and you pull, like you have your left hand or your right hand, pull your left hand. And so the cause is the right hand pulling and the effect is the left hand moving. And you can use examples of cause and effect. Why didn't they help the little red hen? Because they were lazy. And why did the little red hen do all that work? Well, because, and if she planted the seed, how did the seed grow? Well, because she planted. So you always got cause and effect. Number 5, again, builds on the first 4. Now you have a main idea. And Dr. Gonzalez would sing a song. He would have you hold up your hand and you would point at each finger. So who did what, when, where, and why. You hold your hand up and then you bring your fingers down. So, and he would sing, I got the main idea in my hand, I got the main idea in my hand, I got the main idea in my hand, I got the main idea in my hand. I got the who did what, when, where, why, got the who did what, when, where, why, got the who did what, when, where, why, got the main idea in my hand. And he would do that with his hands. So you do all these with your hands because it's right there on the page. Now the next are the inferential or comprehension skills. And these are the ones that are sometimes hard for kids. You have a kid read the story and you ask them a question, they just don't get it. And they go back and they say, well, I've read the story, but I can't find it in the story. Well, it's not in the story. It's in their head. And they have to learn that there's going to be questions on our tests, our comprehension tests, that are not in the book. They're in our head. They're inferred from what is in the text, but it's not actually right there on the surface. So the first one, number 6, is predict outcome. That tells what will happen next. So at the end of the story, you can ask the child, they were lazy and they wouldn't help her fix it. You think she's going to let them eat it? And they'll usually say no, although I have some kids say, yeah, I think they will. So, but either way, you're teaching them to, what do you think is going to happen next? And in drawing conclusions is similar, but here you tell why. And let me back up. Predicting outcome, you take one finger, touch your forehead, and then you just move it away from your head. What's going to happen next? Drawing conclusions, you touch your forehead, because these are in your head, not on the page. And then you move your hand away from your head and in a circling motion, okay? And that's drawing conclusion. So from the evidence on the page, why did you say what's going to happen next is going to happen next? Or it can be in the past. Why do you think they did what they did? Why do you think they were lazy? Well, maybe they weren't raised to work. Then the generalization is the personal application. And with that, you take the palm of your hand and you gently, hit your forehead. And that's, aha, now I got it. And that's the personal application. And with the little red hen, of course, the application is we shouldn't be lazy. We should be like the mother hen and her chicks, and we should work. And if we don't, we just might not get anything. So that's the generalization. Okay, those are the 8 Powerhouse Comprehension Skills. This answers the question, this is my reply to the lady in the comments section who asked me to give more information. Now we're going to go a little bit further. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to show you a little bit more. It's in this document. This is a graphic organizer you can put on your wall for the main idea. Then we have some more here. Let me bring them up. Oops, there we go. This is the hand, and Dr. Gonzalez would have us actually get a glove, like from the hardware store, a white glove, and we would write on it who did what, when, where, why. We'd even color these, each finger a different color. And the kids could put on their glove and hold it up, or the teacher could put it on. Then we're going to skip down here. There's for feelings and opinions. If we're going to look at that. These are some words for feeling opinion. What they think, what they want, what they wonder knew. And in here is for secondary grades. Let me get down. This is what we're looking. This is the next thing I wanted to show you. For the inferential skills, Dr. Gonzalez had these questions, and he recommended that we make big copies of these and put them on our wall. So these are predicting outcomes, and you can get them on the document in the comments section. Click on that little document, the URL down there, the link, and it will take you to this document, and you can download it on your computer and run it off. From me, it's free. I'm glad that you can have it. And so what's going to happen next? What is John going to do now? What is Sarah going to do now? And so on. So that's predicting outcome. And then we have one for drawing conclusions. What seemed to be happening? How would you explain this? Notice we're dealing with evidence here. Also, you can have the students give their own explanation of the story. And then making generalizations. What can we learn from this story? What is the story trying to teach us? What's the author trying to do? So on. Let me pause briefly here. That when you are teaching these skills, remember, these skills can be taught without the students reading anything. You tell kids stories, and kids should be read to every day, and they should be hearing stories. I'm a storyteller myself, and I'm always telling stories to kids at my school. Stories I make up, stories from my life, stories I read about, so on. And as you're telling the story, you can stop and be asking these questions. So you're developing the comprehension skills even in pre-K, even in kindergarten. And it's actually, I think it's better to teach them before you sit down and teach them reading. It's almost like, in some cases, almost too late then. They really need to know these early on. And let me see very quickly, this scope and sequence of instruction. On this bottom side, we have the literal skills, and up here we have the inferential skills. And Dr. Gonzalez told us when we're, like, say on Monday, we're reading a story, pick out one or two of these literal skills that we want to teach, and maybe one of the inferential skills, and you would highlight that in your lesson, and then you can develop your own practice test questions based on these. And the rest of this document is largely information that Dr. Gonzalez gave me. There's the hand clues on page 30. I go into a little bit more detail explaining it. And then there's just some history in here and stuff. Y'all, some people find this really interesting and some won't. There's even my letters to Dr. Gonzalez and so on and so forth. Before we end, I want to go and show you what the document looks like. The title page, there's a picture of Dr. Gonzalez. My websites, www.donpotter.net and www.blendphonics.org. I hope that you will visit my website. I also hope that you will subscribe to my website, to my YouTubes, and hit like. Right here we have next to the last thing I'm going to show you. This is 5 elements of reading essential elements, and the comprehension skills fit right here in the middle. Okay, so the first thing is word attack using simple phonics, and then using complex phonics. Complex would be digraphs and diphthongs, and I have covered this very adequately with my program. With Reading Made Easy with Blend Phonics for first grade, and my Blend Phonics lesson and story 62 lessons that are available on Amazon. Just click Donald Potter and the title will take you there. Structural analysis is more advanced, dealing with prefixes, suffixes, and roots. We generally think of this as 3rd or 4th grade and up, and I deal with this in my Beyond Blend Phonics, which teaches the I call it English Morphology Made Easy. Then we have vocabulary, which we learn in context and based on experience. We've already done the comprehension skills. Apply reading skills, such as using index, glossary, atlas, and encyclopedia to look up information. And finally, literary appreciation, which in my mind is really what it's all about, because I want students to love reading as much as I do, and as much as my children did, and as much as my students do. Okay, we are 13 minutes. I'm going to take maybe 2 or 3 minutes if I can get this document to, oh boy, to move over here, and I may not be able to. I can't, and I don't know why. Here we go. Well, I do know why. I broke my right hand in a biking accident. I'm trying to operate this mouse with my left hand. I do want to end with a caveat. This is from Mark Seidendel's Language at the Speed of Light, which I consider brand new 2017 book on reading, and I consider it the best and really clearest work on reading. It's probably going to end up being one of the top books on reading instruction of the 21st century. And I want you to notice he says something here. The beginning reader gets the comprehension part for free, but basic skills require instruction and practice. And I don't mean to make light of all that I just taught you about teaching comprehension, but quite frankly, most children do not have a problem with comprehension. The schools and teachers think they do, because they're simply looking at the end result of a comprehension test. But if a student's think with me, if a student's taking a comprehension test and he misses a word on the page, he's going to miss a comprehension question. Not because he doesn't know fact and detail or main idea or generalizations, but just simply because he didn't know what the word was. And I think that most students come to us if they can speak the language, they enjoy cartoons, they laugh at a joke, they converse with their friends, generally have what's called the semantics. If you look at this reading triangle, the semantics is the meaning. They understand, and phonology is the sound. So when they hear a story, they can understand the story. What they don't have is what Mark calls the basic skills. And the basic skills are the ones related to orthography, which is spelling or phonics. So when they see the writing on the page, the problem is they can't get to the meaning until they got this down. And when they get this down and they go to the sound, they automatically know the meaning. So I think that in a lot of instruction today, we're spending more time on comprehension. So while I teach comprehension and I have these 8 skills, I think the fundamental, we should be focusing our attention and our time on the basic skills of phonics and spelling, phonemic awareness, and writing. All right, well, this is Don Potter. I hope you find this useful, and let's shut this down right here. And if I can get this, I'm working off of 2 screens and working with a mouse here. All right, we will see you later.